Hi, this is Shalimar Steinberg, and we are continuing along with our section and hatch and view assignment. We left off having just finished adding the groove and lines to the front view, so we're going to go ahead and continue on. Alright, so the next step is going to be to carry over the information that we know from the front view here to our side view. So I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so that we can see that as well. And what we know from the front view is the height of that. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my line command, and I'm going to do the height there. And the cross length, or the width, we would know from the height of this, which we know is 3 inches. So we're going to go ahead and do that as 3 inches. And then down to the same height here. And across. Okay. Then we know that this solid edge that we can see is going to be a solid edge across. So I'm going to draw out from there. And I have to make sure that I don't let it snap me to my center or my midline there. So I'm going to go right to the intersection point and then straight across. And that's not straight. So, what I might do is just go through a little bit and do this so that I can type 0 and make sure that it's straight across. And then I can just use the grip to drag it back to the intersection point there. Okay. Then next I need to put in the 2 grooves that I know are solid, which represent these 2 little edge pieces, and those are 0.5 in. I'm actually going to wait on those until I get the miter line drawn in and the view of my object. So there's 2 ways that we can get the information from our top view onto our object. One is that we can draw a miter line at 45 degrees and transfer all the lines over. I personally find this the easiest method to use because it doesn't involve me having to rotate and things like that. Some people find it a little bit easier to be able to take the object and rotate it, so I will show you how to do that as well. So you could do copy, and you're just going to, I'm going to start on the other side of it because I want to get just the parts that I touched completely here. And I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to select a base point to do it from, and I'm going to pick the center of this. And I'm going to just bring a copy over here, like kind of out of the way. And then I'm going to rotate it. And I want to rotate the whole thing by 90 degrees. So just straight up and down. And then I'm just going to move it back over. I can pick either that center point again or one of these, and I just want to line it up with that edge and with this edge so that it's still the right distance apart. At this point now you could just draw straight down from all the circles and things like that. So you would get onto your construction line layer and just draw down for each line. So that is one method of transferring that information, and then you would later delete this shape if you needed to. I'm going to go ahead and not use that method on mine. I'm going to do the miter lines so that people know how they work. And that's because later on they'll be really useful for some other more complicated drawings that you do in your real life or work life, as the case may be. So. Okay. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and get on my construction line layer. And I'm okay with whichever of these 2 methods you want to use. So if you decide that rotating it is easier, that's acceptable too. And I'm going to draw out so that I'm beyond the edge of both objects. And then I'm going to tab over so that I can make sure it's exactly 45 degrees. At this point, I can then transfer everything from this view over to here, and then straight down onto the object. And I want to be at 90 degrees, so make sure that it's going straight. Okay. And I didn't transfer this one down because I've already got that solid edge there, so I'm going to skip that one for now. Then I'm going to go for the edge of this one, and over, and down. And you may find that just doing one circle at a time's worth of lines is helpful to you, because it won't give you as many lines on the page, which some people have said are kind of confusing, and that's fine too. So I might just do one more for the groove here, and then draw in those lines that I need to. So for example, the lines for the groove are, or not the groove, the semicircle, those are going to be on my object line because they're solid. They're edges that we can actually see, but they only go through the bottom half of the object because they're represented here and not up here where there's that cutout section. So here. Then if I want, I can delete those lines to show that I've finished that one. I've got the lines in there. Then I'm going to do my hidden line layer. And get all those in. And for the hidden lines, I've got some different ones. For now, I'm just going to draw them all the way through and then trim out the pieces that I don't need. So I'll just go all the way down like this. Two, and then get rid of the construction lines. And then I need to get back on my construction line layer for a second. And I'm going to draw the ones from this drawing, and that's going to be showing where this groove goes. So draw straight over. Snap to something, so let's zoom in there a little bit. And I'm just going to go through and again about 90 or 0 degrees to make sure that it goes over correctly. Sometimes, as you can see, the snaps can get in your way just a little bit, but they are overall more useful than not. And I will go ahead and do the next set of circles. I'm going to delete these ones right now because I have already used them. And you can go ahead and leave all these on if you want to. I'm just deleting them because some students have said that it's too much visual clutter on the page for them. So I'm going to go ahead and now do the 2 smaller circles. And again, you can even just do one of these at a time if you need to. And then straight down. And zoom in so that it doesn't snap too. And for this, I might turn off a couple of my extra O snaps just for a minute. Make sure that intersection is on. Okay. And I don't even know for right now either. And that way, hopefully, I'll have less interference and be able to snap exactly where I want to. Not quite sure why my intersection is not showing there. It should be. Okay, so I'm going to tab over and top again just to be sure. Oh, another thing that I could do that might help is turn on my ortho mode for just a second. And that's just going to make it so that I can only do straight lines down. And this one I didn't draw quite far enough over. So I'll drag it over. And I zoomed in on that because I wasn't sure if I overlapped it. Just going to continue through a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to switch to my hidden line layer again. And I'm going to draw over those lines. So this one's going to be a hidden line. And this one. And then from the black line down here, so, or sorry, the white line down. So this one, and this one, and there. Then I'm going to go ahead and a hidden line starting. I know it's going to go down 0.188. That's showing me the inset on that screw. And I will take that over just to here. Actually, I'll just continue it through a little bit and then trim off what I don't need. And that's also going to let me then get onto my regular line layer and draw in the version of it here at the same height. So right here, all the way through right here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and freeze my construction layer because I shouldn't need it for right now. Just gets it out of the way for me. And I can do some trimming that I need to get done. Okay, so I'm going to go into the trim command. I'm going to hit enter to tell it select all. I'm going to trim off this little outside edge here. And then looking at the drawing, I'm going to trim out this little section here and this one here. And then the two little inside sections here, leaving me with the shape of that overall screw. This edge is going to stay solid because from the section view, we can see that edge on the inside where the inset is there. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to trim off this piece and I'm going to trim out this section that's just telling me the height. And this one here. Okay, then I'm going to look at my example here and I realize, okay, this section doesn't go through because it is the portion that's in the gap in the middle, and so that means that this section isn't going to go through either the same way. So it should be above the gap and below the gap because it's that outside, this groove right here is what's being shown there, actually. Or sorry, the circle that goes through the top and the bottom over here. Then I'm going to trim out, let's look at the next section. Okay, so that stays, but the outer section here gets trimmed out. So this line on this side and this side. And then if I look in here, the shorter section, and I can't actually trim that, so I'll be doing erase on those, but I'll trim this one out. Okay, so then I'm going to select this one, and this one, and then this one. this one and delete those. And now if you look, my drawing pretty much matches up with the hidden lines that I have on here. Oh, because I didn't erase this one. And at this point, I can also go ahead and drop the hidden line that I need on this face. So if I switch over to that layer for a second, got my hidden line. And what I'm doing is I'm drawing a hidden line from here up because it's representing this groove. So to where straight through there. Okay. And at this point I can go ahead and take out this little section that I don't need. And I'm also missing one more object line, and that is this edge here on the solid object. So straight up from there. Okay. Now I've got everything drawn for that view except for my cutting plane. So all I've got to do now is the hatching, then the center lines, and the cutting plane, and my dimensions. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into my hatching. So I'm going to switch over to my hatching layer. And I'm going to go ahead and click the hatch button here. And I'm going to make sure that the pattern that I'm on is the ANSI 31. And it's easier if I just do it that way. ANSI 31, yes. Okay, so I'm going to go in here, and here, and then this little section here. Everything that I'm leaving plain, those are parts that show the holes inside the object. I went ahead and ended that. And then center lines, I'm going to switch over to my center line layer. And I'm going to go into the annotate tab. And right here there is a command for center line. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to select the outside edge of the circle that I'm representing. And you can only do center lines on the side views, not on the circle views. Those you would normally do center marks right here. But because our cutting plane is coming through, we're just going to copy our center lines from the bottom view. So I'm going to go in here and click on the center line. And I want this little grip that's behind the arrowhead. And I'm just going to drag it down to where the intersection is. And this part is annoying to me. I'm not sure why it's not matching up. But anyway, then I'll drag it back. And now that makes sure that I have the correct 1/8 of an inch spacing outside of the object for my center lines. And I'm going to do that again on the one over here. And then click there. And the edge up. Alright. And then I can do the same thing over on this side, or I could copy this one. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and do the center line. And just because I have all hidden lines here, I'm going to use the two solid outer lines because it'll still be right in the center, which in this case it should be. And I went ahead and just did the spacing for me. Then I will do the copy command and copy this small one here. And I'm going to copy it from where I know it attaches to this edge here. And go up to the circle here. And place it there. And then do the same thing over on this one. And then I'll just grab the bottom and move that grip back to the edge of the object here. So that I get the correct spacing again. And the same thing over on this one. Okay, so now I have my center marks, and my last step is going to be my cutting plane and then dimensions. So I'm going to get on the cutting plane layer, And I'm going to go ahead and get into the line. I'm going to go find the center point here, and I'm just going to go about a ½ inch outside. I just want enough room that it's definitively out there. And then I'm going to go over to about a ½ inch outside on this side. And I have my cutting planes, and then I'm going to draw up about 0.75 of an inch to give me a base for my arrowheads. And I'll do the same thing. Actually, I'll leave that one because I'll copy and paste from this side. Now there's different ways that I can do arrowheads. One is that I could just draw in an arrowhead and do a solid fill on it using the solid fill from the hatching. The other one that I like better is doing a polyline. And what we're going to do is we're going to click the starting point as being, oh, I need to turn on my end point again. And we're going to say start it here. And then if you look at the command line, you have an option to choose width. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say start it at 0, meaning that it will come to a point that has no width, and then go to, I'll say like 0.18. And then I can go ahead, and as I drag it down, it looks like an arrowhead. I'll just go to a little over halfway down. What you have to know then is that now your polyline is set to that width, so until you go into polyline and change the width again, it's going to show everything as that 0.18 width. And then I can just copy that one over to the other side. So I'll just use the copy command. And I'm going to select that and the arm that it's on. And I'll select the end as the base point and paste it right over there. Now I have my cutting plane, and then I can go ahead and do all my dimensions so that it matches the example. All right, that should do it.